Live from Studio B, it's Ross, the Oliver Man. Thanks, Johnny. I'm here again today to do another viewer mail episode because right after I did the last one, I got some more stuff. So I think what I'll do is I will go with the emails first because I was always taught you had to read your birthday cards before you open your presents. So I got an email from viewer Dale who sent me a picture of how the spring latch grill thing works on the 1365. I don't think I mentioned that in the last video, but thank you, Dale, because that really explained a lot. I got an email from viewer Steve who has sent me stuff before. He watched the video with the 2020 John Deere and he decided, or looking at them, he's got some parts combines, I guess, and he thought that the hubs on the parts combines looked like, you know, the hubs on the tractor. So he's going to check that out for me, and he might be able to hook me up with some new hubs for the tractor. So I'm glad I didn't order any yet. Got an email from Wes, who I put a picture of his son driving the tractor in the last one. He was happy that he was mentioned in my video. And so, no problem, buddy. You ride all the time. And anyway, I can read you part of what he wrote. He said, "You have a way of making a great day out of a cloudy day when your fellow town's Oliver enthusiast beats you to the punch and says, hey, you got mentioned on Ross's new video." So he thought it was awesome that I mentioned the tractor. He was glad I was making progress with the hitch and about the working up on the roof, so that was good. He said, have a great night. Don't use too many animal noises on the big yellow truck ride. So, yeah, the school bus makes you want to use animal noises. Also, one more thing. You don't see that other guy crawling around on his roof. Wonder why that. He needs some animals to take care of instead of driving around out in the snow. Well, I tell you what. After that roof video came out, if you read the comments on all the videos, that Oliver guy commented that you always need to take a snack with you up on the roof because he got stranded up there one time. The wind blew his ladder over and he had to sit up there a while till help arrived. So, yeah, he probably learned his lesson and is smarter than me not to crawl on the roof. Let's see here. I have many emails from a viewer, Gary A. And he actually took me a while to realize that it's all the same person because he's written to me on several different things. He wrote to me on Facebook, and he also wrote to me, of course, leaving comments on the videos, and he's now started emailing me. So I guess I'll go back to some of the beginning. He's a pretty interesting guy who actually worked for an Oliver dealer, and he's commented on that Oliver guy's videos too. He's the guy who has the little purple garden tractor that he said is the offspring of Herman and Ophelia. So he says, way back when, Chris has been telling me to watch your channel, so now I'm hooked. I worked at an Oliver Molding White dealership in Illinois for 11 years. When it sold, I did not like the new owner. So anyway, he parted ways with it, and there's more about that in another email we can talk about in a minute. His parents were from Germany and settled in Corydon and then migrated to North Vernon, which is not that far from me. So that's kind of an interesting connection there. And he actually speaks a little German, so we thought that was interesting. Let's see, what else here? There's so many stories. He could have a whole YouTube channel of his own that very interesting. Some of the stuff I'll read you, and some of it I'll just keep to myself and laugh because I like it. But I don't know that the whole world needs to know. But he's got stories about everything. I can put in some pictures of his little purple garden tractor, and you'll probably remember who I'm talking about. Oh, he, I don't know if I should say that or not, but I might. Anyway, he said he must admit that he discounted other Oliver presenters on YouTube other than Chris because of some who could simply not say a sentence without profanities. He had to cover his service dog's ears just so he did not follow other Oliver YouTubers. Anyway, so I thought that was amusing. I try to put in the animal sounds it's just bound and determined when you work on something you're going to say something naughty, but, you know, try to put in the animal sounds. He commented on things I could do for the seals on the wheel bearings. He's a storyteller. He's got a lot of interesting stories. And there was one I'm trying to find, because like I said, this has been going on a while, and I really want to highlight some of this stuff because it's pretty interesting. Here's one where he tells more about back when he worked at the dealership, and then when it changed hands, he didn't like the new owner or however, and he was offered to stay, but he chose not to. He went on actually to get like multiple degrees, and he was working on his doctorate, and he ended up having a stroke, and so he's been dealing with that the rest of his whole life from that. And I tell stories with the hope that some will be remembered and passed on to the future. I like that because I agree. That's why I started doing YouTube basically, so some of this knowledge may be shared with the future. I really enjoyed collaboration with Chris and his channel. You're a very talented individual. You're doing your video, and the way you present yourself reminds me of many of my farmer customers. The problem around here is we do not have many farmers. We have farm families that farm 20,000 acres and removed all the trees, have 3 big combines, fleets of trucks, etc. I felt great when we sold 2 semi-mount 16-row airplaners. We sold the first articulated tractor in the area, a white 4150, then 4 180s. 8 bottoms, 20-inch plows, and 28-foot discs were matched with those tractors. The first 4 150, the plow, and the disc were a $33,000 sale. Everyone thought that farmer had gone nuts paying that much money. Then $15 beans dropped to $5 beans, and the bottom dropped out of farming. We had a customer who borrowed big money to buy land and could not make the payments. The bank was going to foreclose and take it to auction, so instead of seeing his operation be sold off, he went out into his large machine shed and took a walk off his combine with a short rope tied to his neck. Yeah, unfortunately that did happen a lot back in the days, and we talked about this when I worked at the dealer one day. You know, farmers, many people don't think about it, but they have a pretty high suicide rate because there's a lot of things that can go wrong and it can depress you. So, you know, I guess if you're one of those people and you're having trouble, reach out to somebody and ask for help. You don't need to just run off the end of your combine ladder, you know. Call me up and I'll tell you life's terrible, you know. We're all in it together, I guess, is what I'm saying. And then he winds us up, hee-haw, hee-haw. I have to stop typing. I'll bore you with a bunch of stories. But no, they are not boring stories. I do enjoy stories about dealerships in the old days and everything. He sent me another email after video where I was cutting with a cutting wheel or something, and said he wanted to go out to his Franken truck and get me a cutting wheel. Anyway, he sent me a picture of a service truck that he made because he had it's the front half of the truck is a 94 Chevy K3500 and the back half is a 94 F350. He was going to install a welding truck bed on the Chevy, and when he started taking the Chevy pickup bed off, he found there was basically no frame behind the fifth wheel mounting arch. So he had a worthless truck. However, he had a Ford with a welding bed on it, and it was missing some windows, brakes, and a bad automatic transmission. It was time for one of those inspired moments. So he put the Chevy up on jack stands, got it leveled, and cut the frame just behind the front spring hangers, which also got removed, ground the frame clean, and it was ready to weld. I removed the welding truck bed from the Ford, pulled the chassis from the front of the shop, and cut the Ford in half about 12 inches in front of the back of the cab. Used my plasma cutter to remove the Chevy's thin metal frame back part, and so on and so forth. He cleaned it up, and he made the two become one. I can put pictures in. Pretty good job. I mean, you would look at that and you wouldn't know that that's what it was. He said the only problem is the Ford fuel center and the Chevy gauge do not operate in the same ohm range, so his cure is to carry a 1-gallon gas can in the small toolbox section. We did that for many, many years on an old farm truck that you couldn't trust the gas gauge anymore. We kept a 1-gallon can behind the seat so that it was enough to save you from having to walk, hopefully. Anyway, he says he wouldn't be afraid to drive it to Alaska if he had $100,000 for gasoline and a pair of ear protectors, because 6 mud tires create a lot of droning noise. I wish I'd great videos. I wish I'd started watching them long ago, but I thought you... We'll skip that, what he called somebody else something, but I thought it was amusing. I should have viewed your videos and realized you are a great presenter who bleeps words with great sound effects. By the way, you need to make a green screen wall since Chris is experimenting with green screen. Yes, we have both talked about that, and there are some things that are probably in the works for that. So once we get good at it, there's more to it than one would think, but we're figuring it out. So anyway, that was on the Franken truck. Then the let's see, this one I thought was interesting because and after the first line of reading it, I realized exactly what he was talking about. It was after I had that video working on the 550 diesel for the customer. He said, "You're choosing the 550 for your next project is great. However, those were probably one of the most dangerous Oliver tractors built." And I knew exactly what he's talking about, and it is the left-handed shifter. Some people love it, some people hate it. I like it. I think it's handy to use, but I know what his problem was before even reading any further, because I've caught myself being careful not to have it. When you get off the tractor, if you have it running, you could very easily bump it into gear or hook your clothes on it and pull it into gear, and it would run you over. And he has a story here that it's pretty amazing. I mean, kind of graphic maybe, so maybe you don't want to watch if you're eating dinner. I don't know. But anyway, we had a customer who owned a haunted Super 55. It had a killer haunting it. The first victim was one of his hired hands who was climbing off the tractor to clear the throat of a disc gang. He left the engine running when he was climbing off and knocked the shifter into gear, causing him to be run over by the tractor wheel and the disc. When he did not come in, they found him laying there and the tractor in the ditch on its side, which it was being a gas engine. It flooded out and quit. So that's victim number one. Then a few years later, his son-in-law's grandfather was using it to help mow the fairgrounds. He left it running and the rotary mower in gear and started climbing off to move something out of his way, knocked it in gear and was run over by the tractor and went through the mower. That was witnessed by others. That was victim number two. That would be a bad memory to have, so glad I didn't see it. A few years later, his neighbor to his farm buildings borrowed the tractor to blade his driveway and road. The guy did not realize it was more powerful than the old Ford tractor he had and somehow managed to be turning around in the road, flipped the tractor over, and killing him. That was 3 people that this same tractor killed. The guy called their dealership, told them to come get the tractor, fix it, and send them the bill, and then sell it to some tractor jockey with the guarantee that it would never be anywhere in our area again. We sold it to a jockey that bought small-size tractors and hauled them to Florida to sell tractors to people who wanted that size tractor. Another good customer had a 550. One winter day, he was letting it warm and climbed up onto it, knocked it in gear. The tractor lurched forward, thankfully in a high enough gear that when Ralph, who was laying across the tractor, had the experience of his tractor running into the side of the barn. So the guy's hanging over the hood and the tractor runs into the side of the barn. Engine died when it met the semi-solid barn. Ralph gets tossed, got a bruise when he was tossed forward. Putting some new tin on it with the radiator was the only damage. There are just some things that tractor designers do not think of. So they don't put things like stickers that say do not mount or dismount while the engine's running. I always thought I wanted one of those series, but never found any in this area up for sale. There was one 550 within 5 miles of me that went for sale. The guy wanted an arm. The guy wanted an I can't even, that makes me laugh, sorry. The guy wanted an arm, a leg, both testicles, and an ear. He must have found a buyer because it did leave his place. He was along the highway and I drilled every time I went by. And then, etc. He went on and he told me about some oil wells and stuff, which I thought was neat because I never knew how that worked. But interesting. Let's see. So anyway, I enjoy hearing from Gary. He writes pretty regularly now, so he always has some stories, and that's pretty neat. On to the presents, I suppose. I got an email the other day that said your gift from Richard H. was delivered. And so I went to the post office box, and I found a prime envelope. And I think I know what it is because it did show me a picture. So we will open it and see. And I'm sure, ooh, it's even better than I thought. Let's read what the notes say. Send a thank you about your gift. I'm going to send you a thank you. Richard, if you can email me your address, I'll mail you some stuff. But this is fancy. This is a Knipex pair of adjustable pliers. And that's super cool because the Knipex stuff is really good. I think he did send me an email with it. Not an email, but I think there was a note when Amazon told me that it was delivered. Let me see if I can find that note again. It said something about, I kind of remember what it said anyway. But it was talking about, I was having so much trouble with metric fasteners that maybe this would help my problem. It was something on that order. So, yeah, I can't find it back right now, but anyway, thank you so much, Rick H., because I definitely will use this, like usual, not expected, but very much appreciated, so thank you. I mean, this is a nice tool that I definitely will use. And it's even got, yeah, I think it is labeled in like metric terms on one side, and it's labeled in, let's see if I can zoom in on that. This side has standard size, so like right now it's set to grip 1/2 inch, and then so on and so forth down the line. You know, you can see it's got different numbers, and this side's in metric. So that's pretty handy, so you can use it and do what you need to do. So thank you very much. I really like this. Next on our thing, when I went to get that, which I knew was in there from the delivery, I found a key for another package in one of the bigger boxes. This is from, I don't want to give away people's address, so I'll try to fold that out of the way. This is from Michael. He's commented several times and written, and somewhere in here is a note that goes with this. Okay. All right. It's like Christmas time, and it's only March. All right. Hi, Ross. Watching your videos, there's a few things that I thought could help you working on old tractors and equipment. I got you some things that hopefully will help you. I always look forward to your videos, and always informative, entertaining, and quite hilarious. Hopefully this spring break you can break out the plow and do some plowing. I don't know why when I was a kid I could sit on the axle of the Oliver 770 tractor and watch the dirt roll for hours as Dad would be plowing the field. Thanks, Michael. And anyway, I like the description of that because it triggers the same kind of memories in my mind. Years ago in the Oliver Collector magazine, Blaine wrote a set of stories about his memories growing up. If you haven't read those, you know, maybe you can find back issues or whatnot. And I wrote to him once and told him that I liked it because of it was the same way. It's like the same memories that people have from growing up on these. You know, standing on the platform holding onto the fender with Grandpa or whatever, and you know, watching the soil roll over the stuff and all that. That's the same. I remember that exactly the same way. So, fondly, I guess you would say. Fond memories. So, anyway, thank you, Michael. We'll look at the stuff he gave now. We have the original Forma funnel. That's pretty snazzy, because there's a lot of times when you can't get a regular funnel in there. And look at this. I mean, you have to have some pictures there of stuff you can do with it, bend it and stuff. I've seen these, and I think this is pretty neat. And it's a pretty good size, too, so I think you could do a lot of different stuff with it. So we'll definitely make use of this. Let's see what else is in our magical box of stuff. We have a 7-inch multi-purpose straight shears, which is good because I'm always looking for something to cut something. I have a pair of Chinesium scissors that I got from the Hobo Freight that work pretty good on a lot of stuff, but when you get to thicker stuff, you can't, the scissors aren't really up for it, but I think these will be, so that's pretty nifty. So we got that. We have, what else? There's all kinds of stuff in here. Ooh, there is Linux Metal Max, 1,000+ cuts, 30 times longer wheel life, a 4.5-inch cutting disc. So that's pretty cool. It looks like diamond tipped, I would assume, because it's got a diamond on it, you know. They put pictures on for guys like me that aren't very smart, can't read, so yeah. That's pretty good. I definitely will use that because I'm always looking to cut something. We have, oh, this is awesome because I had one of these and it fell apart and I've never got around to getting another one. So this is an air chuck that has the little latch deal so you can stick it on and then hook it and you don't have to sit there and hold it. So that's super cool because I love these and mine is broken and now I have a new one. So that's pretty awesome. Let's see, what else here? We have an extendable ratchet. That is so cool. Ooh! It's like, yeah, that's pretty neat. It's got little indents in it where it locks, and you can have longer or shorter depending on what space you have. That's pretty cool. 1/2-inch drive, extendable ratchet. 72 teeth. That's pretty nifty. So that'll definitely, I think that'll probably live in the service truck because it takes up less space when it's folded up. What else? This is just, like I said, it's like Christmas. The box never ends. Let's see here. We have a, the Lone Wolf 6000, as the other YouTuber says. The remote starter switch. That's pretty nifty. I've always kind of wanted one of these and just never bought one. So now I got one. That might help me very well. It might avoid what was in that one video, if you've seen that or not by now, where this little thing almost ran me over because I was an idiot. But anyway. Oh, and then we have the Lumens, the Braun magnetic slim bar folding rechargeable light. This is super cool. When I worked at the shop, I had a flashlight similar in shape to this that I got from, I don't remember where, like a tool truck, but it was an off-brand. And then we went to Harbor Freight one time and saw that they had something like this, and I've always wanted to see how it was. But they are super bright. And also, oh, this one's got even like an end. That's pretty neat. It's got an end light on it. Two settings of brightness, and then an end. And then it's rechargeable like through your phone charger. And the other one, which this one might be too, has a magnetic base. My other one did too. And you can stick it to stuff. And so that is very, very handy. I definitely will use these because I'm always looking for, I don't know, I go through lights quite frequently. And so I definitely will use that. And then finally we have something in a package. And I have no idea what it is. Let us unfurl it and see. Ooh. Super cool. It is a Keystone flag. Awesome. That's going to look sweet. I'll probably hang that on the wall and keep it nice. But that's pretty neat. An Oliver flag. So again, I can't believe this. I mean, everybody, I can't thank you enough. I mean, like I said, I didn't expect ever to get anything, you know. I figured I'd get more hate mail than anything. But I'm very grateful. I know that it maybe is hard to convey that across, you know. But I really am. I mean, I think it's pretty amazing that people even want to watch videos of some guy just messing around with his toys. But and the fact that they take time out to send me stuff, that is pretty amazing. So thank you so much. And like I said, I can't really put it into words how nice it makes me feel that people care enough to want to help me out. So thank you again, everybody. And thank you all for all the comments you leave and stuff like that, because I like reading them. I try to answer everyone. Sometimes the notification thing doesn't work very well, and so I miss some of them, or I answer them way later. So I try to get to them all, but if I don't answer yours, don't be offended. I'm trying. I just don't see them all the time, especially replies. When people reply the second time, it usually doesn't tell me. So, but anyway, thank you so much for all that stuff you guys do. And as always, thank you for watching the videos, and I'll see you in the next one.